qualifying match. The winner of this series moves on to the playoff bracket. The loser is eliminated from DreamHack Atlanta.
There we go, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, coming fresh off that 2-0 win in the TVT against Vindicta, this is Psystorm's GuMiho.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Waterfall, we have his opponent, the other South Korean Terran representing Team GP. It is Ryung.
What am I seeing? This is something that happens from time to time in Korean TVT where they just like to mess with you, and both players will go for a completely off-meta build as if it's just the most normal thing in the world. So both players have gone gas first with like a depot tucked behind the main with no wall. Like gas first is really out of meta. This depot positioning is really strange. And they're just both going to do it like it's the most normal thing in the world. Yeah. So here we go. Yeah, Korean TVT, let's go.
Korean TVT, you know? It all makes sense, Papi. And yes, you know, Ryung is a player that we haven't been able to catch at all today at DreamHack, unfortunately, but he's been going on his own journey. He had a bit of a rough time in his group. I believe it was a Zerg group. He had Ragnarok and a Laser to face off. And yeah, now he has to kind of redeem himself here in this TVT, and I always love to cast Ryung. He's kind of a cranky adjacent player here. He was an OG from Axiom. He lived together with Crank for a long time. He's good friends with him. He casts with him as well, and he's one of those returning ex-military players, and I feel like he's so underrated. Asher, I feel like whenever we cast him, he just looks amazing. Like, he just pops off, mate. I don't know, but he doesn't have the most amazing results, though.
Yeah, he hasn't been the most consistent, but we have seen games where, I mean, most recently, I remember casting him versus Dark, and he 2-0'd Dark in two of the most exciting games I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy what he can somehow whip out. You know, just kind of unlocking that gate, going Super Saiyan and just going ham. But we'll see if he's going to be able to do so here when it matters most in the last series of the night for him.
Yeah, very interesting. Both players just kind of going for a standard Reaper Hellion opening, but off the gas first. So it seems to me that they're trying to blind counter each other, going for some kind of 2-Rax Reaper build.
Yeah, I mean, bearing in mind that they haven't SCV scattered each other at all, the units are going to be meeting here in the middle of the map. Oh, the Hellion's going to be taking some extra shots, but GuMiho will lose his first Reaper.
Yeah, very nice little micro exchange going down between these two players, but GuMiho just going to be taking out the edge in that one, keeping that Hellion alive.
Oh, exactly. But at the same time, Ryung slips on by. He's going to be able to get a full scout of this main base. They'll try and harass that CC a little bit, but the Hellion is going to be able to zone him away.
Yeah, so that Hellion is just going to be keeping that Reaper out. That Reaper kind of making a little bit of a home in the base here of GuMiho, but he's going to be able to get on out of there as we see both players going for the Cyclone, going for the Marine. So yeah, I guess they've found a little meta of their own, maybe trying to kind of blind counter each other's builds and found themselves at the same place.
Yeah, you know, I mean, based off of the in-game lobby chat, I think it's safe to say that these two are good friends. Obviously, we have no idea what they were saying, but it was a solid 3 pages or 4 pages worth of text between the two of them. There was a lot of laughing. I saw the laughing face and yeah, the laughing text.
Yeah, that is like, okay, what build are you going to do? He's like, oh, I'm going to do this build. And he's like, okay, I'm going to do it too. And he's like, yeah, okay, let's do it. They'll have no idea what they're casting, these English casters.
You love to see it, man. You love to see it. As we do see a drop coming out across the map. Again, this is kind of the major divergent point here between our two players, is the fact that GuMiho went for the medevac first, doesn't have a tech lab going even for a second medevac, as Ryung is going for his Ravens.
Ryung's buildings are also prettier. I think he's arranged them more nicely.
Oh, yeah.
I give him some points for that.
Beautiful. Oh, my God. Oh, as the armor is already ready and waiting, and the drop easily gets deflected here. Oh, my God.
Yeah, he's going to be deflected by these units, but more importantly, gets out without losing anything. It's really important that you don't lose the tank when you go for a build like this. He is going to try go for a little sneaky drop on the bottom here, but the Raven is in position. GuMiho going to be respecting that, just using this medevac to scout out the units a little bit, drag them out of position.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, the Cyclone moves on forward, does get a lock on that Raven, but does take a massive tank shot to the face.
Yeah, as it will just be getting picked up, getting on out of there. We just see a lock-on going down for Ryung. Both these players just kind of going back and forth with the units here, trying to get an edge wherever they can. This is something that we saw again with GuMiho's match against Vindicta, where he's just trying to use every single unit to get these small edges.
Oh, exactly. And we'll see if he's going to be able to find a little bit more damage here. You know, the tank is in range of that mineral line. A couple of shots are going off here and there. GuMiho, he picks up and he's trying to go for another drop back into that main.
Yeah, GuMiho just poking and prodding, trying to probe for any little weakness in the defenses of Ryung, and I think he might have found a little way in the top right here, as we do see Ryung repositioning his tanks and doesn't have the main covered.
Oh, the main is not covered. He's forced to siege up his tanks here in his natural base, still taking a couple of shots in that mineral line, and does lose 5 SCVs. Up.
Oh, and he gets a lock on the Cyclone, and he gets the medevac. Oh, doesn't get the medevac out. So close.
Oh my god, both players kind of going blow for blow there. GuMiho, sure, he gets a Cyclone, but he loses his entire drop in the process.
Yeah, and what's really important here is the Ravens are still alive. GuMiho recognizes this, realizes that he can't overstay, gets those tanks out of there before he can be committed on, but as soon as I say that, doesn't quite get there. He's going to be chased down.
Yeah, but you know what? He was able to unsiege just in time. So far, only losing one, but no, never mind. I spoke too soon. A second tank does go down. Ryung is going to be able to chase this all the way back home.
Yeah, second tank does go down. This medevac can take up the tank if it wants to. Does drag these Marines into the tank fire as well, so does get a little bit back himself, but will be pretty significantly behind in the tank count. And yeah, this is one of these features of Waterfall. Because it's such a small map, you can kind of just set up in the middle of the map and you cover quite a lot of it.
Yeah. You can reinforce quite quickly as well. So yeah, we do see both players bounce off each other. Both players are going to be expanding, taking their third bases. Ryung a little bit ahead, as his already is an orbital, and GuMiho just is unrelenting. He's going for another drop. Uh-oh.
Oh, but good read on this, and that will be going straight down. Looks like Ryung doing very well with the positioning. This is something that I remember as well from his games against Dark. Ryung's premonition when it comes to his unit positioning is incredible.
Oh yeah, his foresight is insane. He's going to be losing a couple of SCVs here though, so this Hellion is actually paying for itself. Oh my god, 5? 6?
Yeah, this Hellion is getting a heap of damage. That Land of Viking will finally clean that on up, but not before it can, yeah, actually take a lot. And we do see this third being set up here for GuMiho. Ryung setting up for a big push.
Oh yeah, exactly what Ryung is lacking in the SCV count, he makes up for in his massive army supply. We see a scan. GuMiho does have eyes on this. He is already in position. Despite GuMiho's army advantage, it is still difficult to kind of flex that here. He's got more tanks, he's got more Vikings. He still has a Raven alive from earlier as well, but can he find a way in? Can he find a way to break the third or the natural?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of small advantages here for Ryung, but doesn't want to accidentally throw that away walking into the tank lines of GuMiho. Does have a small Viking lead as well, or roughly the same Vikings, but that extra Raven does change the math pretty significantly on these things.
Yeah, it really does. You know, whether we see an anti-armor missile or a disable, like there's so much potential with this Raven. GuMiho's going to try and meet up with the army, but so far he has been a little bit out of position. Ryung able to slip on by.
Yeah, good scan here, and it looks like Ryung actually does find a little bit of a way in. Gonna have to be careful not to walk into that tank fire there, but he can start to edge his way towards that main, and if there's only the one tank there, he does have the disable there.
Yeah, he does have that disable. Goes for the anti-armor missile instead. He's going to be able to take a decisive fight in the air.
Yeah, that tank gets in position, or just out of range of that tank, but he's being very threatening here. We do see a little bit of a reroute of the army by GuMiho, maybe trying to catch Ryung out of position if he rallies too much in here.
Oh yeah, he's actually going for a drop across the map, or maybe even to try and catch some of those reinforcements, but here we go. We have another disable. The Vikings, they do land, and the natural base is being broken.
Yeah, the natural base has been completely broken. GuMiho going to have to give that one up there. Does get the drop into the third, so Ryung going to be losing his third mining at the same time. His Vikings, he does need to keep these safe.
Oh, that he does, but a lot of damage is being done. The Vikings contemplating maybe even landing on top of those tanks. It looks like GuMiho didn't, Ryung didn't really fully commit into the natural. He is barely in range, but GuMiho, he may be able to save it. Oh, maybe that's way too soon.
Yeah, he's going to be poking that back, and he does actually have, considering how low these Vikings are, does have quite a Viking advantage, and there's bigs around here. He's going to be cleaning up everything here, but a lot of SCVs being lost.
A lot of SCVs are being lost here, but at the same time, Ryung himself is also only on 2 base economy. He's going to try and land his third. Suddenly, GuMiho, he swings in favor when it comes to the army supply.
Yeah, GuMiho smells blood. He's got these Marines, he's got these medevacs out on the map as well. That affords him a lot of mobility. He can threaten this third, pick up and drop into the main. It requires a lot of attention from Ryung.
Really does. Ryung trying to find a way and trying to pick away at this army, but there is just so much available to GuMiho. Ryung is being forced more and more back, and there's that drop you were talking about. Oh, okay, doesn't quite commit, but does reposition his tanks.
Yeah, just repositioning those tanks over there. We'll be able to take out this tank of Ryung. The Viking advantage there as well, really significant.
Oh, the Raven goes down as well. Not before it gets one final anti-armor missile off, but again, that's not really what we wanted to see. The Marines stay on forward, and they're going to be able to get a kill on this CC.
Yeah, the CC is going down. Even with the repair, that means that Ryung has to commit to this fight. But the tanks, they are here, they are in position. GuMiho just going to drop back on a stim, dragging him into the siege lines, and Ryung in a world of trouble here.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to fight back, but he's down an entire base. Again, he overextended earlier, losing any kind of advantage that he once had. And now he has to do something drastic. But the problem is that if he does try and go for a counterattack, then GuMiho will just go into the main.
Oh, maybe a little bit over eager there by GuMiho, trying to drop that tank over in range of Ryung's siege tank up at the main there, but there really is no pressure on GuMiho to do anything here. He can just get his fourth up, he can sit back, he is so far ahead in so many ways.
Yeah, he can just take a fourth, expand, he can even double expand if he wanted to. Oh my god, +3 attack is on the way, 3-2, because why the hell not? We got some Liberators as well. There is that fourth base that we were talking about. Ryung still has a decently mobile army, but oh god, just GuMiho's defensive position is going to be insane. I thought those were the boys, but no, we have some reinforcements on the way.
Yeah, reinforcements on the way. Meanwhile, GuMiho, he does have that +2 attack. The math with the upgrade advantage makes these fights really one-sided, but nice surround by Ryung, just not enough. GG is called. GuMiho takes down that first game.
GG, well played. GuMiho really well warmed up after a series against Vindicta. To be fair, this game was very different. GuMiho, for the first time on this stream today, didn't go for mech. He didn't go for mag fields. Very different openers overall. And it was pretty back and forth. You know, there was a period where Ryung was ahead, and when he had like the supply advantage and he was pushing into the natural, and then yeah, suddenly everything swung in favor of GuMiho.
Yeah, I think there was just a moment there where Ryung was a little bit overextended in that natural. He had his 5 Vikings and he had that advantage, but every Viking was in orange or red health, and I think that would have been a really good time to back off.
Yeah, exactly, because we saw when GuMiho went to break that position, those Vikings died basically immediately. Like suddenly, in one moment there were like 5 to 6 Vikings, and then there were 0. And yeah, GuMiho, very patient play from him, waiting for that opportune moment.
Yeah, exactly. Just waited till the perfect moment to break out and never really let that momentum go. So very nice game out of GuMiho, but gonna have to see if that's gonna change here on the inside and out. Maybe GuMiho might go for that proxy Reaper. Try to end that day for himself. Go have a nice rest.
I think we would all look forward to that, Papi, as I'm quickly double checking. We are 6 minutes away from the 12-hour stream. Let's go.
Ooh. That's disgusting. Incredible effort, but also putting in an incredible effort today, finding himself into round 6 of the knockout bracket and one win away from qualifying in the playoffs. This is our Korean Terran in the red, playing for Storm Gaming, GuMiho.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Inside Now, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Team GP. It is Ryung. The Rax is in the main of GuMiho.
It's somewhere. He just kind of puts them everywhere. I thought about this a bit before. I do think the way that he positions his buildings mean that a scan isn't gonna show every add-on. That is one advantage to just kind of putting them in random spots all throughout your base.
You know, I would love for us, or I love for I guess Crank would have to interview GuMiho and ask him about this stuff, and he's like, what? Like, nah, I just throw him down.
This is where they go. They just go wherever.
Yeah, you know, like they want to be free. They want to be wherever they want to be, and yeah, it's just, you know, it's just random. I just roll the dice.
He just like spins his mouse as fast as he can and then just drops it in one location. He's like, there.
And he's like, well, I mean, it works. You know, I win games. What do you want from me?
Yeah, meanwhile, we do see already a little bit of a divergence in the two builds as GuMiho going to be going for a very fast reactor first. I've got to give props to GuMiho. He's shown an incredible breadth of builds. Across these 4 TVTs that we've seen so far, all of his builds have been extremely different.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? We haven't even seen his final form. You know, he's still got even more builds hidden up his sleeve as well for the next rounds available if we get there. Meanwhile, here we go. We do have the reactor finishing up. We do have our first wave of Reapers on the way. And Ryung wasn't able to scout this.
Yeah, and this is a very interesting way as well for GuMiho to play off his reputation. The last few games that he's played very heavily into more of a, I don't want to say defensive because he's being harassing, but more of like a tech unit based style. So going heavily into Cyclones, going into tanks, going quite early into Marines, not really trying to put on a huge amount of Reaper Hellion pressure. So I think this will catch Ryung a little off guard here, and especially going up against a different Reaper Hellion build, this is very nice for Gumi.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if this goes unscattered. We'll see if Ryung is caught unawares as we're going to continue Reaper and Hellion production. We're going to be pushing out across the map with a mass amount of units, and it's going to be all about whether Ryung can defend in time. He does have that Widow Mine on the way. It's also going to depend on whether GuMiho can react to said Widow Mine and avoid any kind of major splash damage.
Yeah, the Widow Mine's really nice here, especially on a ramp map, unless GuMiho preempts that and guesses it's coming and splits off a unit as he goes up the ramp, which is really bad in any other situation, but really good against this. It is going to be it's going to be down to how fast his reactions are, really.
Oh yeah, we'll see how fast they are. Meanwhile, Ryung is set up defensively here, ready to receive whatever comes his way. And the right shot is going to be going off, does pull away with the Reaper.
Yeah, beautiful reactions there. He's going to be dipping on out of there, but that does allow those Reapers to get those extra damage. GuMiho being very assertive, rushing up that ramp. He's going to be getting the damage on these SCVs, and I think there's a little bit too much damage on the Reapers for Ryung to commit to a defense here, so GuMiho going to get out with that damage and a nice supply lead.
Yeah, you know, gets 2 workers, backs off. Now he takes the worker lead. It isn't the biggest of leads, but a lead nonetheless. Oh, and behind this, GuMiho going straight for a medevac. Again, he just wants to be in Ryung's face.
Oh, this is such a cool build. I really like this, actually. Actually going to be following this up with a tank drop, and considering he's going for another tank, I think it's even possible that he makes another medevac after this.
We shall see. So far, only a single medevac. He's going to be going across that with his 1 tank, and we'll see. We'll see what Ryung has at home to defend. Does have the Raven on the way. His own tank is coming out, but I don't know if it's going to be ready in time.
You see the Tech Lab, after all, not going to be going for that Diamond Terran double drop build, but we do see this big concave being set up, and can this tank get in position? It looks like Ryung doesn't have a tank at all, so this tank is going to be very difficult to deal with as it's in range of the ramp.
Oh, exactly. Here we go. The Raven does come forward. Auto turret is thrown down. We now have a tank on the high ground for Ryung, but GuMiho immediately drops on top of it.
Yeah, this tank, it's not being focus fired though, but it will still go down on both sides. Man, these two players are so evenly matched, but it looks like GuMiho just getting the better of him here. He is forcing the SCV pull.
Yeah, he does force the SCV pull. 5 more workers going to be going down. The reinforcements show up as well, and now we have another tank.
Yeah, another tank does arrive. He's going to be taking out a lot of these SCVs. Ryung is going to be looking to clean this one up, but all of his fighting units go down. The last few SCVs going down. The tank finally pops, but with the micro potential with the medevac, it's just too much. GuMiho takes it down in quick fashion.